Hello, good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, whatever you are. Thanks for being here with us. So, if you're watching us, we are starting one more session here on Out of the Box Developer. Um, just place your George already right here. Hello, everyone. Hello,
Georgie.
George. Good to have you here. So, if you're watching us, please say hello here on the chat. Say share with us from where you are and yeah, what is your biggest challenges when we talk here about today is about AI. So we're going to be talking about um, Java and Spring AI, right? So let's let me give some quick hello here. So hey Chila, how are you?
I am fine, Hugo. I am happy to be here and today learn something about Spring AI. So I'm looking forward to it.
Cool, cool. And you, Douglas, how are you, man? I can see you. I'm not sure if you are in some place that you can't turn on your camera.
Oh, I have my camera off today. But I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. Really looking forward to seeing the topic that we're going to go over because we talked about LangChain and Lang4j, and then there was the other Microsoft. I can't remember it. The Microsoft one
Semantic kernel.
that we which one?
Semantic kernel.
Semantic kernel. So this is really cool that Spring has one that we can take a look at. Looking forward to it.
Awesome, awesome. And Igor, hey Igor, you're gonna be sharing with us, especially the Spring AI, right? Features to work with
Yeah,
Gen AI with Java, right?
exactly. Hi, Hugo. Hi, Sila. Hi, Douglas. Hi, everyone that's watching us. We are hoping to learning together a little bit more of Spring AI, being able to play around. And this simplifies things a lot for us that are Java developers. How we can bring this AI intelligence within our applications and just straight into the Spring ecosystem. That's the better thing I can see. Of course, we will be able to compare with Lang4j, especially with you, Yugo, that have this experience with LangChain
Thanks
for
for this.
J.
Yeah,
Yeah. I hope to learn about these differences as well and share a little bit with you guys what I have learned about Spring AI into the Java context.
yeah, that's wonderful. We have seen lots of tools that enable us to work with these uh, large language models. Not just large language models, I believe, but most of the cases I see is with text. And as we see, also Corcos also have their extension to work with to integrate LangChain 4j inside the web application, and Spring are still the main framework for to work with web applications. So it's really good to have some support from them. So we have to hopefully we have to write less code, right, and less bugs.
Absolutely, that's their main goal with Spring AI. We will be taking a deeper look on that, but the flexibility that it's bringing us, and that's just the beginning, because if you see, they are only on their first release and they are already supporting lots of models. I truly believe that it will get even more extended. So,
Yeah, and I'm especially curious because Spring people they choose to not use LangChain 4j as their base uh, large language model orchestrator, right? Right? They created their. I don't know if they used something else or they created their own, but that's an interesting movement. Also because I've seen LangChain being very popular between lots of open source developers, but also recently I want to share here before I can share to you. starting here. But I watched. I was following uh, the ThoughtWorks technology radar, and let me just put a disclaimer here. It doesn't mean that it is the absolute truth, and you have to follow whatever it is there. But it's a good guide of what they are thinking about. Let me just go through. If you are not familiar, let me push here a tab so I can share my screen to you. Uh,
Yeah, that's good.
better to share the screen here. Window, this one. Yeah. So one thing that was really interesting, let me share here. Yeah, I hope everyone can see the technology radar from the ThoughtWorks. It's those smart guys from the ThoughtWorks. They release it every period. I'm sharing in the chat if you are curious about. And yeah, they have this division of techniques, tools, platforms, and language frameworks, and they divide in adopt, trial, assess, and hold, which means that they are more confident when they are more confident with some of those topics they put in adopt when they are experimenting with some of those techniques or tools or whatever we put in they put in trial so we can see what they are trying or also what they are assessing if they are thinking to work with that in the near future or hold when they decide to not continue or to be to hold about some of the tools or techniques. And when I go to, and I was really happy here to see that in the techniques, um, they have added a lot of large language model techniques that is interesting. RAG is one of the very popular technique to add context inside models. They put here on adopt technique, and they have a lot of other things that are in trials, combining traditional natural language processing with large language models, and lots of assessments here. And one really interesting thing I came out is regarding to the language and framework. If we go here to the code, and I found LangChain here. Oh, really? I was so having so much fun here. What happens? And yeah, some of they are really concerned. Some of they are really concerned regarding to the API definition, standardization, and so on. So yeah, it's everything is a lot new, and it is how can I say? It's not surprised to okay to that wind changes the direction and we're gonna have lots of different other frameworks, languages that can rise from nothing. So as Douglas mentioned, a semantic kernel here, Haystack and Light LLM is one uh, of the other frameworks, other libraries that we can be trying out. So just a quick, quick long explanation regarding to this technology radar that I thought really interesting to share today. And yeah, let me just let give the stage to you, or I don't know if you guys want to add anything and discuss anything regarding to that.
Yeah, that's interesting to see. They put on hold that, right? Maybe we start to see a different movement now that Spring AI is coming and and being released as a final version. There is already another snapshot version available. We will need to watch the market how it
Yeah,
behaves, but of course, dealing with LLMs when you have dependency with Spring, I don't know if you're using all your applications with Spring for a long time, and then you have the dependency to interact with LLM from Spring, this seems to be more solid, more robust. I don't know. You see that more trust. We also have a comment here from George about LangChain. I believe LangChain is good for prototype the solution. After your test using the building blocks of LangChain, maybe it's better implement from scratch. In this view, the Trustworks
Of
can be
course.
right. Yeah, yeah, I agree. And now even you can make your prototype and also your final application with the Spring AI. But Spring AI is just recent, so I think that LangChain was the guy until now, right? At least in Java, that was not very common using that because Python has ruled this field for many, many, many times, many, many, many times. Yeah. Well,
I would I would say that I'm not sure I agree with that lane chain only for prototypes. It just depends on your platform, and there's a lot of things that something like LangChain or Spring AI or semantic kernel or LangChain for J would do for you that you really, really, really don't want to write from scratch. Believe me, because I've written directly against the APIs myself, and it's really cool to have that framework or that infrastructure that gives out a like lane chain. Everything is about chains. It's a chain of responsibility basically that you pass in inputs and it has outputs and you connect those outputs to the next input of the chain that you created, and you keep doing this until you get done. It's like a workflow basically. So I would say if you think that, give one of these frameworks a chance. You might be thinking prototyping in Python and implementing, go to production in Java, but at least give a framework a chance before you say that it's only for prototyping.
okay. Good.
Yes, I totally agree, Douglas. Especially when I talk about those more advanced features, right? Like RAG that you have to connect with a vector database. You have to put an embedding model in the middle and well, make
They
a lot
have
of
it all.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all there for you. You basically just say, I need to connect
Yep,
to this vector database, and this is the retriever, this is the embedding, this is
exactly, exactly.
you yeah, you don't have to do this stuff by hand. So uh, absolutely, please, please, please don't put out there that it's only for prototyping. Uh, as always, whenever you use a framework, they have opinions, and you may not agree with them, and then you may have to go your own way. But I would really steer in the direction of trying to use something that a community is behind instead of just something that I homegrown developed by myself.
Hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. It's good to try out, of course, and understand what is your need and what is the responsibilities or the abstraction that you would like to delegate to someone else that has more time and effort on that, and then and it will be helpful for you to create your applications. And yeah, but it was one of interesting thing. I also believe that everything here regarding to these libraries, there are lots of things changing yet or being defined. So it's really difficult to stick with some standard at this point. We are still discovering what gonna be the standard actually. But yeah,
Well,
so Igor, let us show. Do you want to share your screen? How do you want to drive this
yeah,
and present to us the Spring AI?
yeah, yeah. Even before going deep with the Spring AI, I want to do a quick introduction about everything that we are talking about here. Because I saw that in another presentation that was really helpful for me to get a basic concept. I'm not gonna talk everything in depth as we saw on that, but yeah, having just a starter idea. It's helpful. Let's see if my screen is showing. Is my screen being shared now? Yeah,
Now it
now we
is.
have. Here we have the out-of-the-box developer presence. Here we have unlocking ChatGPT for Java with Spring AI. Yeah, guys, just a quick introduction about what is AI, how Java and AI relates, and say hello to Spring AI. Then we move on to the hands-on stuff and see that in code. And here we go. What is artificial intelligence or AI that everyone is talking about, that we are talking a lot here, and everyone is getting in touch with that, and that's absolutely necessary. Well, we need to understand that artificial intelligence comes from a broader scope, from machine learning that came from the past, started a little long ago with machine learning, and into machine learning we got another field called learning. And on deep learning, we can have separate categories there. That's discriminative. This is a supervised learning. And also the subject of today that we will be talking about, the LLMs and regenerative AI. And these two are the most famous one and trending ones for now that we're talking about. The most common one and famous, I would say, is ChatGPT. Everyone knows, but we have a whole bunch of them. Olama is a local one. Mistral, you can run that. Olama and Mistral run those locally, and Gemini, it's the artificial intelligence from Google. Then, what is machine learning? It's a way of taking data and train a model to be able to do predictions. This was very resumed. And in a definition from Wikipedia, you have machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence and computer science that focuses on the using data and algorithms to enable AI to imitate the way that humans learn, gradually improving its accuracy. Yeah, that's why we have these models that they are learning, and you can train a model, and that's how all these models have appeared and created, because they were trained. The way they are trained is through machine learning. Moving for a machine learning use case here very quickly. We can use this for many cases. If you in your place where you live, you have a facial recognition, probably that use some kind of intelligence, like the ones that machine learning applies. It can be used a lot, especially in healthcare, to help in the diagnosis of recognizing tumors on X-ray scans, in abnormality on ultrasounds. This is really interesting. You can see how many lives can be saved in the application of machine learning just by recognizing earlier the symptoms of illness, and treating that in an earlier stage. Also, self-driving mode, for those of you that are familiar with the Tesla autopilot, that uses a lot of machine learning. It learns about the rules of the traffic and how the signals, and if it can do something or not. Fraud detection on financial services. This is very common these last days. And the companies, the financial services, are using this to detect especially odd behaviors when robbers try to do something that is not common. This is also very common when you receive a call from your bank asking if you have, not a call. In the past it was a call, but you will receive a push notification in your cell phone. your purchase was not allowed, or this is strange behavior, please contact us. That's the way. Also, video recommendations on YouTube. Your first page on YouTube uses machine learning, of course, and this is kind of magic. If you do have your cell phone close to you and YouTube app installed, it will start even to suggest you videos related to what you were talking about, and it collects data. That's no news. And spam filtering, of course, more in the business emails. You have a more quality spam filtering to avoid spam in your email and any ending, even in cell phone calls. I do have this Truecaller. Truecaller is a spam filtering of callers. If you're tired of receiving telemarketing calls all the time, you can also have a spam filtering for calls. And talking about supervised learning, this is one of the fields into machine learning. You give uh, you give the data, the images in this case, and then it starts to learn that this figure, it's a cat. It starts to labeling that. This was very in the very first beginning there when all this AI started to move. Now you can see how much you can do with machine learning. But just to know, also Google Photos uses this technology for a while. If you go in your Google Photos app and you have lots of photos, and if you want to find pictures from your dog, you just search for dog, and it will retrieve you all the pictures that your dog or other dogs are. How it does this magic? Well, it uses supervised learning. And that's even a curious fact, because all the big tech, when you add data to them, you add data into Facebook, into Instagram, even in Google Photos like that, they are using your pictures to train their models, to enhance their capability of creating these more intelligent models. Moving forward here, how machine learning works, that's exactly the way we were looking before here. Let me just read quickly about deep learning. That's the field into machine learning that we are dealing here. Deep learning is the subset of machine learning methods based on artificial neural networks with representation learning. The adjective deep refers to the use of multiple layers in the network. Methods used can be either supervised, semi-supervised, or unsupervised. And here we have an example of these layers. And this was add a picture and how these get the lines together to figure out if this is an elephant, a penguin, or a kangaroo. It just goes increasing complex feature and unsupervised learning and supervised learning. It goes using layers and combining things. That's why this uses a lot of process to figure out what you want to find. It uses a lot of power computational power to process these results. And this is a field from the artificial neural network, like we told here, into deep learning. This comes from artificial neural network. What makes this possible and why we can do this now and we could not do that in the past, since this has started long time ago, in the 60s, I believe, started first studies of artificial intelligence, and this was evolving. Well, this is possible because of the scientific advances on deep learning. Deep learning has evolved. The availability of big data, we need lots of data to configure these neural networks, and especially lots of compute power, especially GPUs. And this is where the NVIDIA is doing a hit right now, because we didn't have all of these three elements in the past as complete as we have right now, but the idea it's around for a while. And then coming to the star of the night, the large language models that we're going to talk about. And these changes, they are not only machine learning. They are not a big neural network. Here we are introducing the transformer architecture. It's much more than just learning what this is and what this is not. And say it, this is specialized architecture for token prediction. The key innovation is the attention mechanisms, and this is not just a big neural network. Great, but what does that mean? Well, we have an example here of all of the transformer architecture that does this magic, but especially is we add an input, uh, we add input, and this generates stuff for us. This generates text, images, files, videos. This can generate anything. LLMs are a type of artificial intelligence that can generate text, understand language, answer questions, and more. That's why you can even talk with ChatGPT because of this transformer technology. We do know that ChatGPT transforms that when you talk into text, it transcripts it very good at least and process it. But Gemini, I think it's not even transcripting it anymore. It's processing it in real time. This will be evolving even more every time. And LLMs, they are large because they have a vast number of parameters, which are the parts of the model that are learned from data during training. Oh, there are hundreds of LLMs out there right now. As you can see, Hugging Face AI community is a community where you can download LLMs open source. There are tons of them and one in your local machine. We will take a look on that in a while. But ChatGPT is the most famous one because it was kind of the first to go public for everyone to test it as far as I know. I don't know if there another one that came before, but training a LLM. You can train an LLM to your own purpose. We can see there are lots of LLMs out there for specific purpose. We have even talked about that. And this comes to generative AI. That's the goal of we are talking here. Generative pre-trained transformer, it's the GPT, generative pre-trained transformer from ChatGPT. Unlike the facial recognition example we saw earlier, generative AI can take the training data and generate something completely new. And that's nice to see because we do have here some stuff. What is not generative AI? Numbers, classification, probability. And what is generative AI? Natural language, text or speech, image, and audio. Generative AI, it's being generated in runtime from this trained model. It processes according to the set of data it's contained in that model. And ChatGPT is very big one, a global one, but you can have a small, let's put in that word. You can have a small LLM or trained for specific purpose, like the one that we can have. We were talking about healthcare before in the previous example, and there is an Olama LLM that is trained on healthcare, on medicine. I will take a look. I cannot ensure that I will be able to run it here, but I will show how you can run it locally in our machine. And this was the last slide. Uh, this was a very beginning concept here. Yeah, we can share the slides after if that's needed, Karina. And let's take a look on this star of the night, Spring AI. Because if we want to develop in Java, we had LangChain for J before, and now we have the Spring AI that is coming into the Spring family. That like we told in the beginning of this presentation, it's the most broad and spread framework. But just before in jumping in the Spring AI, anyone has any question or wants to say something about the presentation we just saw?
Oh yeah, I just see Karina's writing here. So hello, Karina. Good to see you here. She asked regarding to the access to the slides. Will you
Yeah,
share the slides somewhere? Yep.
yeah. I will be probably adding these slides in my blog after the call here. We're adding a new post there with this presentation and the slides, so you can get it from there from igorfragadev.com. So let's move forward to Spring AI. What I like the most on Spring AI? This is very hands-on. It's just out of the box. That's a perfectly fit for our meeting here, because you just add the dependencies and you work with that. With all these chat models that we have here, they say chat models, but we have all of these LLMs compatible. Chat models here, the text to image models, transcription, and embedding models. And I truly believe this is just for these first versions that we will be seeing it. And then, how do you get started with Spring AI? Let's take a look for use it with ChatGPT itself. Of course, you can generate a new project with Spring Initializer. Just straightforward here. I've added here. I've just created this project before a call using Java, Maven, and Spring Boot 3.2.4 with this cause here you can create your own with anything you want, but the dependencies is what matters. I'm just using Spring Web here for a test, but the one that matters for us in this exactly moment is Spring AI support for ChatGPT. But if you take a look, I want to run my model locally in my own machine. No problem. What are you going to use? Mistral. You have here you want no, I'm going to use Olama. This was one of fastest. Here you have. You just add it, and then it will generate the project for you with the dependency that you need. Of course, if you're going to use Spring AI, if you with ChatGPT, you need to have an account in OpenAI and generate your API keys. For these calls, they are not free. They have its cost. Let's see. Here is that mine. Yeah, that was the use, not the usage, but I've generated this and added some money here in the account so we can do some tests here. But let me just show you guys here how the project looks like. You can see.
So Igor, while you
Yeah.
are setting up the environment, we have a question here
Oh, let's
from
see.
Karina. Uh,
Where is it?
Here it is. How does Spring AI compares to LangChain in terms of capabilities set?
That's a good
Well,
one.
I I see that you the Spring AI already have lots of model implementation, right? So, not a model implementation, but the integration implementation for a lot of different
Yes.
models. Uh,
Yeah.
by seeing here, it looks like really close to what LangChain. I don't know Python version. Let's see Python version.
We would need to see how it looks when you try to write code in it to know
Oh,
how it
maybe yeah,
compares
yeah.
to
That's good.
LangChain. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's take a look on the code first, and so we can compare them.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the Lengche guy here is Hugo. I'm bringing you guys here Spring AI, and then we will be able to have a comparison, a nice comparison here. Yeah, let's take a look on this. This is the project I have just generated there in the Spring Initializer. It just have the main here. I've just added a controller so we can call it. And what's the star of here? Is this chat client? This is the implementation of the call to the models. This is an interface. That's the flexibility that you have. Why is that so good? Because you
Oh,
can
Igor,
just.
I think it's a good idea to increase the font.
Oh, okay.
For
Sorry.
everyone.
Let me see if I can increase it here because this is really small. I think this looks better now. It's better now.
Yeah, it's good. It's better now.
Yeah, we can even
Oh,
increase
let
it.
me see on the chat.
Let me put that as 20 because we don't have a lot of text here, so it can just be real big. Yeah, this is the chat interface, and this is from the Spring AI implementation. And the best of this is that you can have this implemented in multiple ways, having specifically, as you can see, this is the interface, and the one that I'm using in this particular case is the Open AI chat client because I have added that as a dependency because we are going to use a ChatGPT here for our test purpose. But the magic behind it is that you can just have your own code implemented with any LLM that you want. It can be from OpenAPI, it can be from Olama or Mistral, and you don't change the implementation itself. You just change the dependency that you want. Yeah, if you're going to change from OpenAI to Olama, for example, it will change the implementation here, kind of out of the box. And then this is what it has. We don't need any REST calls. We don't need to handle the response because one of the issues that were we were having before with these REST calls before using OpenAI or LangChain for J, you needed to parse, do a lot of parse if you received the list because you received an item and the message and the response from that. And each item comes in a different message, and that's a mess. With these kind of implementations, this does not happen. You just do it all into the Java code, and much cleaner. You receive your body. This body here is just a very dummy DTO here, a body called body, and a class, a controller class here. Let's see. I want to show you something real quick. This error that you see here is if you don't pay. When you call OpenAI, you don't pay. Hey, here is your message. We want your money. So be extra careful if you're going to put something in production that calls OpenAI. You need to know when to call OpenAI and when not to call. We can have a complete conversation about architecturing your applications to use AI, because if you're going to call your OpenAI or any LLM to do dummy stuff like calculate something or if else conditions or things that your application can do, something is terribly wrong. You just need to use it wisely. And we here are looking in a way of just learning how you start to get in touch, connecting your applications with ChatGPT in this example. But like as we have just seen, you can use any LLM, and the configuration looks like much more the same. And just a quick thing before running this and sending our requests to ChatGPT, you need to configure your application properties. Here is the name that was generated from Spring Initializer, and you need to add your API key. I've added this into an environment variable here to not have this exposed right here. This API key is the one that you generate in your account, in your OpenAI API keys. You generate that, and then it will give you the secret key only once. Then you add it here. If you are only running locally for a POC or testing purpose, that's no problem. But if you are going to version your code, add it in an environment variable, because if you version that, you just forgot that it was there, and someone can get your API key and your account can get really big if you don't pay attention to that detail. And in this specific case here, I'm just specifying that I want to use the GPT 3.5 Turbo. And I would like to see where are the costs, Open API costs. Pricing is I think it's here. Let's see, because each model have different costs. As you can see, calling GPT-4, it's much more expensive than calling the GPT Turbo instead. And since we are just testing here, we have much more possibilities to use here. Tokens is the currency of the model of calling these models, and there is also somewhere here a calculator. I don't know if this is not showing. You can have, I don't know if exactly where it is, but you can take a look. You guys can take a look there, because you can have a calculator that helps you to be aware of how many tokens do you need to do something. And that's the OpenAI token token calculator. Here it is. Tokenizer, it's called. And enter some text. Here is some text to be sent to an AI. And here you have how many tokens this generates. This is 10. Sometimes this each word is split in a different token, but sometimes not, like the OpenAI here. Um, well, this was just for curiosity. Since we were talking about costs, let's move to the project itself. I will run it. Let's see if it runs without any issues. Now that well, this was running without any issues even before, but when you hit that, it was not loading. Is this not run? You can enable it. Initializing, just start. Okay, this has started a little bit slower because there are a lot of things running here. Let me see if we can call. I will call it through Postman. It's very common here. I just created this very small request here. That is calling our chat controller here, a post call to API calling GPT. I'm sending him a question here. Tell me when ChatGPT was created, and hopefully we will get successful this time. Let's see.
Have you paid the
ChatGPT
quota?
was. Oh, tell me, Yogo.
Yeah, I asked if you have had paid the quota to use the OpenAI ChatGPT, but seems to be fine now.
Yeah, yeah. Finally, this work now. ChatGPT was created by OpenAI and was first released to the public in June 24, the 2021. Sorry.
One. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. To 21. No error logs here. And I'm curious about something. Let's see how much cost this this oh no, it's not updated in real time. Yeah, we will need to wait to see that. I've just added $5 here, but we will need to see that. Yeah, and here we can even debug it if you want it, but I'm just asking for a text here. It can be anything, and we can even ask. We are asking on ChatGPT. Oh, come on, come on. Any question you want to say? What is the difference between ChatGPT
Just
and
a quick
Llama?
hello here to Max that just joined us. Hey Max, good to have you
Hey,
here.
Max.
Have any question? Yes, we do miss to talk with you too.
Yeah, we need to schedule a call with you here too. I will just ask here. I don't know if it's too much small, if it's possible to see, but yeah. What's the difference between ChatGPT and Llama? Just calling it. I believe that this will bigger one. Of course, it's a big one. ChatGPT and Llama are both AI-powered chatbot platforms, but look here. What's nice about that? This is being returned just what we want. Of course, I'm getting the content here. And it will be also nice. Let's be the Java developer here. Since I want to stop the debug here. Oh, so we can take a look on the request body itself. not exactly this. I can just add it here. And that's running and we need to restart it. Why that? So we can take a look on this guy here. What's coming from there? But what is the best thing we can see? This is just returning us exactly what we want. And this is infinite possibilities here. I'm just using this prompt that is a simple way of sending the a message for there, but you can use other ways. You can send content, you can use with messages, but the message I live in is not this, not for sure. I'm just showing you guys the chat client. So in this example, we are only looking into the chat client. But let's see if maybe we have. I don't know. I have not searched for that. Here we have. You have here our image client. I'm just breaking here, but just for curiosity, here you can send images to ChatGPT or to OpenAI model. You want to do any processing with images? Of course, you will need ChatGPT 4, but there you have. And this is the implementation of OpenAI image client. Just straight out of the box into your Java code. You create an image prompt, you add your image, you need to see how it is. There's another presentation to just see about it. Maybe I can write about that in my blog as well. Doing a series of how do you communicate with images on ChatGPT. But yeah, just for curiosity, you have a whole bunch of clients within the Spring AI, and that's really powerful. I really like this. Of course, be aware of calling this in production, because especially with GPT, with OpenAI, it incurs costs. But if you want to do that locally, I do have one here that I was using, but I will not be able to run here. Olama, Olama, guys, Olama is just supported in Spring AI. You have it here, run AI models on your local machine. I was doing some tests with Olama in another machine that I was not able to use today because it's pretty unstable. So I prefer to do you guys a presentation instead of happening something during the presentation. So a smaller one here. And if you run a Llama, it's very straightforward. You just download it here from macOS, Linux, and Windows. And then you have lots of models that you can run in your own machine. The Llama, the Mixtral, Lava. I was doing some tests with the Meds or Llama. That's nice because this is a model that is trained to answer medical questions. So if I'm doing some service that is focused on healthcare, and I want to do a chatbot to help our patients to consult their symptoms, I can create a logic that I will be answering the patient. And depending of what the patient inputs on that chat, I can trigger an alarm to the doctor, to clinic, but I can answer him 24/7. And I did a test, an awesome test with this yesterday. This was here. My baby's crying. What I do? And my baby was crying. Were crying yesterday at night. And she was here. Mrs. Lama, help me. And the answer was, it's normal to babies to cry. Try to put calm music for that and then start to evolve. That's awesome. You can test it with that. If after installing the Mad Llama, you just run it. I will not run it right now because probably this will hang. But I do have this installed here, as you can see. But I cannot run it now because probably it will drop here. But yeah, how do you connect your application with Llama? Oh, I want to do everything you just showed, but I'm cheap. I don't want to pay anything to OpenAI, or I don't like Elon Musk. Go to Spring Initializer, do exactly the same you did here, but instead of adding OpenAI, you will add Olama dependency. And then you just remove this, generate your project, importing your IDE, and you're almost ready to run. You will just need to add the exact same property I've added here for GPT dot 3.5 turbo, but instead of adding this, of course, if you use the same one I was trying here, Mad Llama, you will do something like this. Add Mad Llama. You don't need any API key since you're running it locally, and you're ready to go. Of course, it will look much more slower because everything is processing in your own machine. You will see your processor and GPU runs a lot, but you don't need to add anything in your OpenAPI account, and you can test different models. I've showed you guys also something about. Let me see where it was in the presentation. When we were talking about the open source in Hugging Face. Great. Hugging Face. Hugging Face, it's an AI community. You have tons of models here. You can take a look. And there's also the LM Studio. We did a session as here in the Out of the Box that Pedro showed us some sessions ago. But as far as I could see for right now, I'm not 100% sure about that. I didn't see it at the LM Studio running here. Hugging Faces, you can see here. You have Running Face, you have a Llama, you have Mistral. You want to play locally with Spring AI, empower your applications like we just said. This is the way. You have a starting point to start playing with artificial intelligence inside your Java Spring Boot service in this case. About connecting applications, about connecting Spring AI to LLM, in this case to ChatGPT. This is what I have for you guys. Very straightforward, just a starting point. Now it's up to you that is watching us to put your hands on, figure out more stuff. We'll be figuring out together a lot of stuff. Like I just mentioned, you here the image client and another ones. LM Studio use the same OpenAI API, so it should work. Yeah. I was thinking about that too, Pedro, but I didn't test it. But if it works, even better, because we do have more places to connect OpenAI. So that's what I had. We can maybe in a future presentation do something with images, with videos that will also, of course, move us to Chat GPT to GPT-4 model, but it will be very good. That's it, guys. Any questions? Wanna you guys want to say for all of you that is are watching us? Just leave your questions in the chat here, and we will do our best to answer them. We also have Pedro in the chat that can also be helping us in the answers as well.
I was gonna say the main thing I would look forward to is seeing how it integrates, how it handles using to do RAG basically to create the embeddings, integrate with a vector database, and then be able to assemble a full prompt to send to the LLM. I know it has. I was looking at it. It does have everything in there,
Yeah.
right? It has all of the integrations in there. It would be really interesting to see kind of an end to end, even with a little bit of function calling. Down there, I see that it's got 4 models that support it, and Mistral can actually. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if that's a locally run one. I know Mixtral is a locally run model, but I can't.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
So it's that's all pretty cool, that it could do all that. It'd be really cool to see an example of it all put together now that we've got like an intro to the uh, to Spring AI now.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have lots of things, and I really think this will get even more mature. And Pedro asked if Spring AI is production ready. As far as I know, it is on this version at least.
Will be
Uh,
production, I think, because it's 081, and I just looked into GitHub, and they said in the POM it's already 100 snapshot. So it's coming soon, I
okay,
guess.
so
So they are
they are
preparing for that.
pointing the 100 to be the production version, right, Celia?
I think that will be the production version.
Awesome,
I
awesome.
suppose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
Guilherme is asking if it's possible to run Llama in a Docker container inside the Raspberry Pi. Well, because of the requirements of the processor and CPU and GPU, I don't think so. But I have never looked into that. Unless your Raspberry Pi is a beast. No idea. Do you guys have any idea about that?
I know
Yeah,
that there depends on the model that you run
Yeah,
on
maybe
Olama.
there's
So there's
yeah.
small models.
yeah.
Probably those models are designed to actually run on IoT devices, such
That,
Raspberry Pi. And yeah, of course, you won't run the same models that you would
Gemma.
run on a
Gemma is the
MacBook.
one that I think
Yeah.
you would want to run because it's a really small model, and depending on what you're trying to do, uh, the one that you had up is like a 2 billion. On the prior page, you had Gemma listed
Mhm.
there at the top, and it's really,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah, it's a tiny model that can run. Yeah,
Lightweight. Oh, awesome. So
yeah.
maybe you can run this Gemma there. Of course, it's smaller. It's a
You're gonna need a
lightweight.
beast of a Yeah, you're still gonna need a beast of a Raspberry Pi to run this on, and I'd be sure that your cooling works on it too. Which is, we're gonna laugh a little bit about your cooling working, but the latest version of the Raspberry Pi actually had some, if nothing of a heat sink, it at least I think it had a fan on it. The last time I saw someone show like a Raspberry Pi board. So
What?
you definitely want a fan on that CPU if you're going to use the CPU to try to do to generate
Yes.
answers.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Guilherme, I'm curious about what kind of use case that you're thinking to run on Raspberry Pi using models. inside it. If you can share, it would be interesting to know. But
And
yeah,
even
yeah. Go ahead, Igor.
even talking about uh, heat in your processor, I was when I was running this MAD model. I mentioned you guys here. Let's just remember the name. The MAD Llama 2. Yesterday, I was running in i7 20 the 20 no not 20, the 12th generation of i7 with a water cooler, and this was hitting pretty high 70 degrees. So this really uses a lot of processing power, and it really generates a lot of heat. But yeah, you will need a beast even in a computer. That's why I even wanted to run it in this laptop, because I do know that the connection would hang. My first goal was to have this running in that separated desktop that I just mentioned, but something is happening on that desktop that is pretty unstable. So it was much better to just show you guys here about the Spring AI and using it on OpenAI, and this really helped. Awesome, it really helped and worked out of the box. And this was the real goal of this presentation. But yeah, Olama looks great, but you do need to have for any local LLM, you will need a beast of machine to run.
Cool. Really cool stuff here, Igor. Good to take a look on this, getting started for Spring AI. And as far as I could look, it's very similar to the features that LangChain, at least LangChain for J, I can say, offers. So the Spring community get rich really fast on the same level of support for many different models and integrations, and also features. I see they support already function calls, RAG. I'm a bit curious about the RAG. I think as Douglas is curious about, or how they handle it, how easy it is to actually implement. Because RAG, it's in the end, it's a multiple step technique to make context to give context into to the models. But as far as I could look, it's pretty well implemented, very straightforward APIs, and probably since Spring guys, they grow with Java community. They for a long time they actually drive it best practices for Java community as well. I think they probably will make great work here to with these their package. I'm looking forward for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I like the most is flexibility, because the way they have implemented with interface, you can just start with a model and switch to another model, and almost zero changes in your implementation. Maybe in some special case, you will need to just do a fine tuning in something, but that's special cases. Having these multi LLM, it's a polymorph, kind of polymorphism what we have here. But what changes here is your LLM goal. This is awesome, the way it is. And that's also a question for you, you go and all your guys. Is the LangChain for J implemented in the same way? You do have interfaces like this and all that stuff?
Yes, it is pretty similar. We have the core implementation of it is the main interface that is chat completion or chat models, and
Hmm.
each of the provider, the model provider, such as OpenAI, Mistral, or any other, they implement this interface so you can interchange between the implementation depending on what you put on your dependencies. So it's pretty similar. One thing that I believe it's maybe different on for Spring AI, it is the AI assistant, AI service that was implemented on LangChain 4j, and I'm pretty sure that the implementation is more the implementation technique is more common for Python developers than Java developers. It is a dynamic instantiation of the class of the object. They define the class dynamically and then instantiate it. That that is less common, at least for my in my examples in the past. But I think that that is the only thing that I see really different from traditional Java applications. By the way,
Great.
it's
So
so interesting. Yeah, I would take a look on the how Spring handled it, if it handled differently or they bring another uh, propose.
well, that's great. We can even do a session to talk about the similarities and difference between them. But from what I got from what you just mentioned, Hugo, a LangChain was started on Python, and
Yeah,
then they created this LangChain 4j
exactly.
port to Java. Great,
Exactly.
great, great.
Exactly. And this one is fully implemented on Java. Spring AI is fully implemented on Java, so probably more familiar or yeah, more maybe following more best practices from Java community maybe. But yeah,
Great.
that's both really simple to use and very good to have one more solution there to be as an option, especially for Spring developers, for people that use Spring on their application. It is much when you have a Spring Stack. This is the power of Spring, right? They give the whole environment ecosystem of way
Yeah.
to solve the problem inside their own ecosystem. So yeah, that would be really interesting to look after.
Yeah, my feeling with that it's I'm at home. If you're familiar with the Spring ecosystem, it's very straightforward to get it started. You just don't need to learn a lot of new stuff to start dealing with that. I have not tried LangChain 4j yet. I will give it a try. So now I can compare between them. But having this into the Spring projects, I really like it. Really like it. But like I mentioned many times during this presentation, you need to be extra careful when you're calling, especially OpenAI, because it's the same rule I would say when you're dealing with AWS resources. The bill can turn
Oh,
into
sure.
a big account. So that's it. And these slides that I've showed in the beginning of the presentation, I'll be adding them at my blog that you can see here, igorfragadev.com. I believe you go also add it in the chat. And also be updating this code into my GitHub repository. But I encourage you to create your own repo, which all we have talked here, all we have showed here, it's straightforward. And then how to use that? How do you call it? You can do that through a post, a controller. You can even call it from integration test if you want. You call a mock MVC and hitting the your endpoint or calling directly the chat client we have implemented in this code, and you get results. Of course, for testing purpose only. Do not version in production an integration test that will be hitting OpenAI all the time because that can be costly. That's it.
I mean, that's one of the complexities of actually even creating applications that rely on an LLM to provide one of the critical steps. You know, if you especially if you had it doing function calling for you, so they type something and then it goes and calls functions. Is that testing, and sometimes it may not work the next day. So it does open up. It does open up a lot of interesting scenarios. You do have to budget money for testing. Luckily, even on my worst month, where I was just sitting there and preparing for these, for the demos I did, I spent $10, $10 US that month on the worst month, and I was really sending a lot of requests over to OpenAI. It takes a lot to get to $10, um, you know, but yeah, don't ever put it in an infinite loop. That's all I can say.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I
Oh,
I do
and
want to say one thing. Oh, go ahead.
you just mentioned about costs. OpenAI just updated the costing page here. Look how
Yeah.
much I have expended right now for only for our tests here. I don't know if the image is going to load. Oh, here it is. 1 cent. 1 cent. So that's very aligned with the. It's not here anymore.
Go look
With
at your
what
graph.
we.
You spent less than a thousandth of a cent, I think. Like if you look at that, it says that your graph
Yeah,
sits under 0.001.
0.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
for testing purpose, guys, use this model that we have showed you guys here for the beginning, and then when you start playing with images, you go with the 4. But of course, 4 bills more.
yeah.
But just to getting started, starting to play with this, the cost it's very low. Even for if you even if you don't if you, even if it's in dollars, of course you're converting from any other currency. I've just loaded $5 here, so it's very inexpressive, I would say, for testing. Go ahead. That is worthy, I would say. The knowledge you gain and the practice you gain creating these, it's more than $5. It will pay off in the future, probably, I would say.
Well, at least in learning, I mean, what you're learning about, it's definitely going to pay off in the future. You know, even if you're not, even if you're one of the billion new SaaS products that are coming down. A SaaS product for AI. They're just every day, tons of them. But I want to say, you did that was a really great presentation. Really great
Thanks.
presentation. Just the amount of detail you went into in getting ready for it instead of just jumping into it. It was great, man. I really enjoyed seeing it, dude.
Thanks a lot, Douglas. This was a very challenging as well because I had so many issues here with the machines. I wanted to run Olama. We were not able to run Olama, but
Yeah.
let's just do the best I can do. And thanks a lot. I really appreciated your comment about it, Douglas. I'm really glad that you and I hope that all of you guys enjoyed and learned together with me as well here. I thank you very much.
Cool stuff. And yeah, so we are. Any final questions here? From I see nothing from the chat. If you have any
No.
questions.
Well, thank you, Pedro, for the congrats. Karina, thank you as well.
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you, Guilherme.
I believe that we answered getting a question in the end. If we
Which
compare
one?
between, yeah, in the very beginning, she
Ah,
asked about
okay.
LangChain 4J and LangChain
Yeah.
and Spring AI. So I see really similar APIs, also similar way to call things. Uh, Probably what changes is behind the scenes, how it is implemented, how we do instantiate things. I believe it's more Spring AI seems to be more Java way to do things.
Mhm.
But yeah, both uh, starting to get really in a good shape. Lots of options to integrate, and not just models, right? Models, embedding models, vector databases. They are also in the same package there. You can import, so that's interesting thing. Yeah, I think that's my point of view.
Great. Awesome. Well, I truly believe that having the more tools you have Spring AI, you have LangChain, 4J, and having this into the Java ecosystem, that's awesome. You have options. And from what we could see here in the Spring AI website, or from the project's website, this is getting to hit hard with all those models that they are coming. That will be insane. But just like Douglas mentioned, yeah, you need you need to test it, and you need to know when to call it. And so having it connected to OpenAI, it's great. It's quick. It can be sometimes cheaper than having to going to build or buy extremely powerful machine. But it depends. You can run lightweight models like the Gemma we just talked about to run maybe in the Raspberry Pi that Guilherme mentioned here in the chat. So you have a lot of options to start playing around with that. But the goal here is just start. Start, play with it a little bit. If you don't want to run it locally, just put $5 in OpenAI, and you will be able to hit that lots of times. And if you want to go even further, run that locally is very straightforward. At least I tried with Llama here, tried with LM Studio in the other presentation. They are very straightforward, and you can have it connected to your application in the same way.
One thing real quick that I want to say real before we end about the whole money thing is that you could set an upper limit for the amount of money that you allow the API to for your
Yeah.
cost per month. You could set a maximum limit for the amount of money you're willing to spend per month that it'll just shut down. And that keeps you from having an AWS experience where, one day you wake up and you got your $100,000 in debt to Amazon because something went in an infinite loop.
Yeah, there's an option called auto recharge. You can have it enabled or disabled. I've just turned it off. I don't want it to be billing. If I want to add something, I just go there and do it. I've added $5, and that's $5. And for my testing purpose and this demonstration, that's okay. When you're going to add your payment methods into OpenAI, you just turn off the auto recharge. That's what Douglas is telling us. Great.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, I think not. So yeah, just want to thanks everyone. Special thanks for Igor for presenting for bringing the content. Thanks Igor. Amazing
Thank you.
to learn a new tool here. And yes, hope to see you all on the next session.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'm really glad to be here. Really glad to learn and share knowledge with you guys. My first presentation in the out of box, and I'm glad you guys really helped. And thank you all that are watching until now. Thank you, George, Karina, Pedro, Guilherme, and everyone that went through here. Uh,
Cool. Thank you. So see you the next time.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
y'all.
See
You.
Great
you.
presentation.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye
See
bye.
you. Take care. See you guys.